What's up, Virgo? Welcome to your reading. I want to just jump right into this. The reading's already a little bit behind, but basically we are going to be covering October going into September. For you, this is very much stuff that's connected to your second house, okay? So we are in Libra season. This is the season of partnerships and relationships, which you might have noticed that there's a lot of shifting, a lot of transformations, especially going on in partnerships and relationships at this time, especially because we do have a Mercury retrograde in Libra at this time, right? What I will say about this month is where things have felt stagnant or things have felt like they haven't moved, or even things have felt like, you maybe haven't been able to find proper solutions. October kind of opens things up. We've had several planets retrograde, but this is the month that they're going to all start going direct. So what that means is we'll be feeling a little bit more unstuck. We'll be having movement. And things are just going to feel like they're happening in a timely manner again, okay? Like I said, for you guys, because we are in Libra season, this is everything to do with your second house, which is all about your money, your possessions, your valuables, your resources, those types of things. This is a great time in terms of making money. For a lot of you, there could be a lot of money coming in. You actually got good cards. There's some things I want to definitely take a closer look at, but out of the cards that I pulled, you've got three major arcana. You've got the Magician, you've got the Chariot, and you've got the Wheel of Fortune. Actually, you have the Magician as the unseen energy at the bottom of the deck. And I love when you guys get this card because I do feel like it is very much connected to you. Magician for me is very much you guys in Gemini energy, sometimes Aries, but Gemini and Virgo energy, just because it is a Mercury ruled card. Now, I love when we get the Magician too, because it's always a reminder that you're unique, that you are talented, that you have everything that you need. If there really isn't anything beyond what you have available to you that you need to make whatever it is that you're trying to make happen. So let's say, for instance, you've been trying to get some projects off the ground, or you've been trying to, really do anything, but you've been feeling like maybe you've been needing some resources or some help along the way. This indicates to you that maybe it's a good time to look into places that you hadn't considered. I just feel like there's a lot of help along the way, and I feel like you guys have everything that you need. So even if you are feeling those feelings of lack, or feeling like you're missing certain pieces of a very important puzzle, look to the Magician, because you're very capable, you're unique, you've got all the gifts, you've got all the tools, everything that you need is right here in front of your face. It just may need for you to look a little bit deeper, okay? Now, with that, you guys got the Chariot and the Wheel of Fortune as the first two cards, which I love to see. Now, it's interesting because the Chariot has been showing itself a lot this month in a lot of the reads. I feel like this card has popped out in just about everybody's read. Again, this is a month where there's going to be a lot of movement starting to happen back up, right? Again, we were so stuck with all the Mercury retrograde, all the retrogrades. We had Pluto that was retrograde that went direct on the 6th. We had Saturn that just went direct on the 11th. We've got Mercury and Jupiter going direct on the 18th. Sorry, my speech in Mercury retrograde is a mess. But with all these things happening, things are starting to move forward. And the Chariot card has a lot to do with that, right? Now, Chariot is Cancer energy, but it's an energy of success. It's an energy of victory. It's an energy of moving forward despite any obstacles that may be in your way. And it also kind of talks about balance, things coming to be more balanced. You guys also got the Wheel of Fortune that's crossing that, which I love. This is the karmic wheel spinning in your favor, right? These are, in many ways, for some of you guys, starting to see some things that maybe you've planned or you had manifested, before, like seeing them come in a really, really, really real way. Oh, I can't talk today, guys. There's also a lot about you guys going through a new cycle, which is really cool because at the end of the month, on the 20th, we will have an Aries full moon, and that is going to be hitting your 8th house, Virgo. So that's all about death and transformation, regeneration, all of those things, and it's really showing up in your cards. So some of you guys might have had some challenges, especially in terms of, now, whenever we see the Five of Wands, it does have a lot to do with competition and chaos, but I see this for you guys as maybe not being on the same page with someone, right? Because if you look at all these 5 people, it's really kind of unclear who's fighting who. It's not quite clear what side they're on, what the cause is, all this stuff. There's just different views, maybe too many cooks in the kitchen. It's just really not being able to be on one accord with everybody. And I think that maybe a lot of you guys have been coming out of something like that, whether it had to do with your family, whether it had to do with your friends, your lovers, whatever. Now, again, Libra season does highlight relationships. So relationships of all kind are really, really kind of being brought to the forefront for many people to address certain issues, okay? And that Mercury retrograde is like really cementing it. Now I've got the King of Cups that is clarifying the Wheel of Fortune. It's interesting because Mercury is retrograde, I do feel like people kind of do a flip. So you guys are more of like a logical, pragmatic sign. Virgos to me are low-key air signs. Like you guys are super smart. You're very, very just like, what are the facts? It's black and white in many ways. Like people end up getting their feelings hurt a lot with Virgos because y'all just are very like, it is what it is. But I think with Mercury retrogrades, a lot of you guys go internal a little bit more. You're able to be a little bit more emotional, be a little bit more vulnerable, and you see some really beautiful, moments with Virgos when it comes to these things. And I think that it gives you a different perspective. So I do want to say this is a really important time for you guys to be trusting your intuition, having a healthy balance of both that pragmatic side and that intuitive side. There's a lot of good that's coming to you, and it feels like it's something that maybe you've been wanting for a long time. Wheel of Fortune it's a slow wheel. It's not like it's something that's happening super fast, and it's something that takes time to crank that wheel, right? But it's interesting because I feel like you guys have been working at this for so long. It's coming faster now than you think. So it's almost like you hit this speed bump, and then everything just like picked up. No, I don't want to say speed bump because that would slow down momentum. It's almost like you guys started going downhill, right? And then so you're able to pick up momentum out of nowhere, because it just feels like something that was maybe stuck or stagnant before is now coming to a place where it can move forward. Now, what's interesting is, like I said, you guys have a lot of endings and beginnings here. You have this 10 of Swords. 10 of Swords is a painful ending. 10 of Swords has a lot to do with betrayal or lies or backstabbing or all those little vibrational things that people, can go through. But think about the swords as thoughts too. These can be bad habits. These can be bad thoughts. These could be bad communication with ourselves. It's a really hard experience. When we get to the 10, it's almost as if that feeling is numb. There is no more of that hard pain, but it's like that lingering memory there. Now, what's interesting is you have the Page of Swords here. So there could be something involving your kids, or even if you're in a relationship and someone else has kids, involving their kids. It feels like there's a message coming through. This could also even be that this is a time that something's ending too, because look, you've got the Wheel of Fortune again. So something ending, I'm saying in terms of like a relationship or communication with somebody. I almost feel like there's communication that's being cut off. Or maybe you guys have stopped communicating with someone in, a certain way. Or because, and this is going to hop around a little bit, but I feel like this is kind of speaking to it. You have the 8 of Cups here too, right? Now, when we talk about 8 of Cups, this is about walking away from something emotionally. So this is about dropping the emotions from a thing. So it almost seems like there could be something that you guys have been dealing with, or maybe even are currently dealing with. It could be, issues in your relationship. It could be issues with your children. It could be whatever. But the thing is, it's almost like you are deciding to go through this with steps. Like you've already gotten to the place where you're like, okay, I'm just not going to argue about this because I see that these arguments are empty. They're getting us nowhere. And honestly, it just makes me feel worse because, again, it's getting us nowhere. But there's still that emotional tie that you guys had to it with the 8 of Cups, right? And like you've got 9 of Swords here. So it's almost like, the best way I could say is I feel like you guys trying to solve this problem, almost like deal with it in segments, because that's like the easiest way to deal with it, right? So it's almost like, okay, I'm going to stop addressing this thing because it's getting nowhere. I've already been hurt by this thing. It's getting nowhere. There's something I feel like there was no resolve on a certain thing. I don't know whether this is your issue or whether this is the other person's issue, but it almost feels like it starts with, I'm going to stop talking about it. I'm going to stop complaining about it. I'm going to stop addressing it. And then now we're at the place of, but there's still the feelings there that need to be addressed, right? And kind of let out in order to move forward. I hope that makes sense. It makes sense in my head, but it's kind of hard to explain. There may have been a lot of overthinking about a situation. It almost feels like there's something that you guys, like, so let's say if this is a relationship, because I think that's the easiest way that I can explain it, and that's kind of the way it's coming to me. It's almost like if there's a relationship that you're in and there's something that has been causing issues in the relationship that's almost made your relationship like collateral damage in a way, right? It feels like there hasn't been much resolve, and it's been something that's been bothering you and playing out in your head a lot. Now, it's interesting because I feel like for the most of you, what you want to do and what's natural for you to do is just to kind of dive into work, right? You've got the Eight of Pentacles here. Oh, I can't figure this out. I don't know how to solve this. So I'm just going to work. I'm just going to, pick up more work, all that, because I don't think that that's something that brings you any type of resistance or any kind of drama. But it's when you get home and try to deal with the things or the matters at home or the matters in your relationship or the matters with family that things go a little bit crazy, right? Now, what I will say is it's kind of a blessing that Mercury is retrograde at this time of the relationship season, because this is something that's needed to be tackled. It just feels like this is something it's been a long time coming. And this is also something that challenges you to look at the things that you value and really look at your priorities. You've also got the Two of Pentacles here. Two of Pentacles is about multitasking, right? In many ways, it's about that person can kind of do it all. But it also reminds us that this may be a thing where you have to prioritize what's most important to you, right? And really put effort into the things that you can control, because that's how you push forward. It's almost like, as whatever this is that you may have been dealing with, whether it's a single issue or by yourself, it's almost like it sounds crazy to say, but the more that you just kind of focus on what is working out for you, and the more that you focus on what you do enjoy, the more it kind of solves the problem, right? Because, and I know it's weird to say, because I know a lot of people are going to feel like, will that be ignoring the issue? Yes, but no. There's nothing that can really be done. It feels like there's not resolve, or there's not any agreement on this thing at this time. And it could just be at this time. It feels like the best thing that you can do, though, for yourself right now, Virgo, is just really pay attention to yourself. And I think that a lot of you guys know that. But Virgo, you guys, the people that you're there for and the people that you care about, you really care about. And it is a really hard thing to say, just forget them. It almost feels cruel. But I feel like this isn't a surprise to you. There's something that needs to be let go of in some regard, because I feel like you guys have put up such a fight or tried in so many different ways, but something is just not working. It's just not working. And it's maybe because it's just not supposed to work. This could even be about a simple argument within a relationship. Not saying you guys have to break up, but this could be about a simple argument and like something that you guys just are not agreeing on, not seeing eye to eye on. And so there's no sense in like beating the drum of it, like, more. But it just feels like, what I will say is like staying in your own lane and really kind of, first of all, multitasking what is important, or I'm sorry, prioritizing what is most important to you. Tackling those things, right? Kind of in that order of what's most important, right? Because we can get a little bit of foggy, a little bit of fog brain whenever we've got a lot of things to do. But also, you can't really afford to focus on the things that aren't working out. And again, this doesn't mean like be a jerk and ignore people or ignore everything, but it's like an empty fight. You know what I mean? Like Five of Wands is an empty fight as hell. Like it's not, the only thing that's missing really is Five of Swords here, even though I'm getting kind of Five of Swords energy. It's interesting because you got the Seven of Wands here sticking out now, which is about sticking up for yourself. It's about standing your ground. It feels like there's an issue that has arisen and you guys aren't wrong. How you feel is valid, but this is also something that you can't force. So what can you do? You can mind your business and drink your water and like keep going with the flow of how you're flowing and doing what you know to be right. not being mean, not taking out on any, taking anything out on anybody. And the people who are with you, and if it flows with them, they'll be with you. And if it doesn't, then it just doesn't, right? There's going to be some big things coming up for you guys around this full moon in Aries, especially as it pertains to old situations or old fights or just dead ends, like things just dying off, okay? Now, you've also got the Page of Swords and the Seven of Cups here. So again, you got Page of Swords twice. There's definitely a message coming to you guys. Again, this could be communication. Maybe you guys are dealing with someone who's a touch younger. Maybe this has to do with your children, or this is something that would, affect a family dynamic. Ooh, shit. Judgment and Tower both come out together. Yo, Ace of Wands at the bottom. Judgment is the Judgment card that is about making decisions, right? It is about kind of having that fork in the road. There is opportunity to revisit something. There is an opportunity for second chances on something, okay? But it's serious, and it could be something this month that kind of comes up out of nowhere that really puts things in perspective, that really kind of shakes the table in order for you guys to rebuild something. I just want you to be very aware of that. What it does, though, is it brings you options, and it brings you more awareness of how to move forward differently, because there is some type of discord in how you're moving forward with your partner, your business partner, your children, something. There's something that's not quite working for everybody, but there's also, it's very clear to me that if this is resonating with you, there's really not much else you can do about it at this time. Now, you guys got partnership, okay? Which I love that you guys got this card during partnership season, right? So it says partnership. Allow healthful, supportive partnerships into your personal life and career, and both parties benefit as a result. You are receiving help from heaven and from a person who brings needed skills and resources. Okay, so your relationships really matter. Yes, they always matter, but they really matter right now, right? So making sure that you are putting your time and your effort, your energy into those strong relationships that are, reciprocal, that are respected, that are balanced. That's really important. And then you've also got free yourself. It says it's time to take back control of your life. Boom. And how do you take back that control? By simply going forward and moving on with your life. I'm not saying anybody has to break up with anybody. I'm not saying anything that's happened, but there's something that's, I feel like you guys have been trying at and efforting at and beating the drum of a lot for a while, and it just has not been working. And it's not working. It's just not working. What you do next is up to you. But what I know for certain is you can't control this. And I don't know what this thing is. I don't know if it's something that is maybe technically not fully your situation, but you're indirectly affected. Woo! But Scorpio season is going to get real interesting. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Hope it gives you a little bit of insight and perspective on what's to come and kind of what's going on. Don't try to control it. You cannot control it. All you can do is worry about you. And I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, Virgo.